it's really, anytime I see this, it really pisses me off, because there are people who use this kind of reputation to cover up who they really are. People will say, oh, you know, they're a good, you know, solid Christian, you know, you can trust them. Like, they go as far to say, oh, well, he's a pastor, he's a priest, whatever, and you can trust him, you know. And it's false ideation among Christian society that if they're Christian, you can trust them. And that's most definitely not true. I should know, out of anyone I should know, because my family is one of these people that not only use it as a false reputation to cover up the demons that they really are, but my own family took it a step further. I had to grow up in a house of immense violence and abuse. They called me demon child, devil child, witch. They had the mindset of 1400 style mindset Christian religion, and I'm not exaggerating, because they belong to some sort of Abrahamic cult. To this day, I don't know what it is, but I know because there's paraphernalia in their house. There's things that I know that, you know, it's not just a normal person. Well, none of them's normal, but it's not just a person trying to create a false reputation for themselves. No. They take it way, way further than that. They've, in the past, done things that I was lucky to survive. And I feel very, very, you know, grateful that I did survive. A lot of people don't. A lot of people die from some of the things that have happened to me. And so when somebody says they're a Christian, you can trust them, my blood boils, okay? There's a lot of nice Christians out there who legit just are trying to do the right thing, and I'm not against them, okay? I'm pagan, so I obviously don't believe what they believe, but, you know, as long as your intent is pure, I leave you alone. I don't make fun of you. I don't judge you. You know, I leave you alone. I let you be. I let you believe what you want to believe. But these people who are trying to set this false reputation for themselves, these people who, you know, are the real devils, are the wolf in sheep's clothing, so to speak. But I hate that saying, because it's demonizing wolves, and wolves are not. So I really hate it. Anyway, moving on. I'm going to play some audio from this so you can really hear just how insane it sounds. This lad is and I believe they might tell you this as well in the thing that the audio I'm about to pull up, but this lad is apparently, he's a I think a lawyer or lawmaker, I can't remember, and then he's, I know, big difference, and then he's a pastor and a teacher. Okay, that is one hell of a combination for what he did. Just keep in mind, he's apparently a lawyer or lawmaker, I can't remember which one, and he's, like I said, this priest / pastor and a teacher. Okay, so that's his sort of resume of who he is, apparently what he does and all that other stuff. Okay, and this is what he's doing. He gets really pissed off at a snow plow that's just there doing its job, plowing the snow, because the snow is in his driveway, and, you know, part of the snow gets pushed, you know, up into his driveway. So a snow plow, their job is to clear the road, not your individual house. So it's your responsibility to shovel your own driveway, first of all. Second of all, they do not have the means to, you know, to wherever that snow piles up on either side of the road, they don't have the equipment or the means to move it out of your driveway or the time. That's your job. So, you know, it's on either side of the road, you know, there'll be this gigantic mountain of snow, and they can't do anything about that. But obviously there wasn't a big mountain, you know, it was just, you know, about the height of one's calf, I'd say. Or, you know, it wasn't any higher. That'd be very easy to shovel out yourself. Okay, but even if it's a big snow like that, a big snowfall, it's not like they have a choice of where the snow lands, okay? Because their equipment is just going to push it to the side of the road, and that's the only thing that their equipment has the ability to do. So, yes, like I said, let's play some audio.
Push it over there! Out of the road! Over there!
This is the pastor flipping off the snowplow guy.
Right here! Push it out of the road!
Demanding for him to push it out of his driveway.
Berating a snowplow driver for simply doing his job. We hear from the road agent who got assaulted and recorded.
And this is from the
Welcome to After Hours, presented by Law and Crime.
yeah, this is the Law and Crime YouTube channel that I'm.
So that was New Hampshire lawmaker Jeffrey Greason, who
Okay, lawmaker, not lawyer, lawmaker.
Disorderly conduct, criminal threatening, and simple assault while obstructing a New Hampshire road agent from doing his job. Also,
So that's what he's charged with.
Website, the state rep is a pastor and a teacher.
Every time! And now you get this piss-ass attitude! I'll push you
So
farther.
that's a very interesting, because he's saying that the snowplow guy has a piss-ass attitude. He's accusing the snowplow driver of a piss-ass attitude, when really he's the only one that's having a piss-ass attitude. He's the only one that's being pissy. And yet he's accusing the other man, who's just standing there not doing anything other than his job, and standing up for himself, obviously, but not doing anything. You know, he's not raising his voice, he's not being out, and yet he's the one that's being called piss-ass. So this basically, you know, I see this a lot, where people, their behavior, they're the ones doing, you know, basically creating a scene, and they point the finger at you, saying, you are the one, you know, creating the scene. So I'm going to be, you know, I'm going to have this piss-ass attitude, and you're just going to sit there and take it, and I'm going to blame I'm the one that's acting up, but I'm going to act like you're the one that's acting up. You know, I'm going to act like you're the one that's screaming at people, you know, and flipping them off, and, you know, trying to assault them. I'm going to act like, even though you've just been sitting there doing nothing, I'm going to blame my actions on you as if you're the one who did it, not me. That's classic trolling. I've seen it many, many times when people act like this. That's exactly, they try to divert the attention to someone else, hoping that anyone who is watching and overhearing what's happening might believe that if they didn't see the beginning of it, they might believe that, oh, maybe it is the other person that's, you know, doing wrong. You know, they're trying to deflect the attention off of them. Obviously, it's not working.
Yeah, well, you don't.
I get it off the
You
road.
do not.
Well, I'm going to get it off the road.
Get it off the road.
So yeah, he just said, this is my job, I'm just going to get it off the road, and you know, basically, why are you yelling at? And then he comes over and he's stomping on the snow. Look at that. Stomping on everything he just did. Getting right up in his face.
You don't put it in my driveway.
Get your hands off me.
Tried to take the phone from him. And that didn't work, but he tried to.
Now is Paul Manson.
Paul Manson, apparently, is the guy. Let's see.
Was the snowplow driver who was on the.
Yeah, he was the guy that was plowing the snowplow. Feel really sorry for him. Wow. Okay. So yeah, that's, if that isn't a perfect example of set up a false reputation. This lad's a lawmaker, he's a pastor, and he's a teacher. And, you know, it's, like I said, one hell of a combination for somebody who is, who's acting like that, you know, at home, and then when we assume, apparently, when he goes to church, he acts like a sweet little darling lamb, and then when he goes home, he turns into this monster. I've seen it many, many times. Once there was a lass that abused her child, and she would act like this little heavenly figure at church and then go home, and I'm not talking about me, I'm talking about a different person, a friend of mine actually, and that abuse was more just kind of hitting mostly, and psychological abuse, so it wasn't too bad. But it was bad enough that I thought that she should not have custody of a child. But anyway, it was something that, you know, it was something that I thought, well, this is familiar. You know, this has happened to me, and now I see it again here with my friend's mom, happening to her. And you know, throughout my life, I've seen parallels to, you know, similar things that happen to me, and it's, you know, it goes beyond just, you know, trying to be a good Christian churchgoer. You know, my parents would, you know, get me toys and things, and so that if anyone came over to invest, and that did happen a couple times, the police came over to investigate, they would try to have this false reputation of, look, how could we possibly harm our child when we give our child all of these nice things? And I remember, you know, especially my father saying, you don't have any right, we gave you all these nice things, you don't have any right to be upset. And I would say back to him, it has nothing to do about what you give me, it's how you treat me. You know, you hurt me. I don't care whether you give me something or don't give me something. I just don't want to be hurt. You know, and he would act like, you know, I don't have any right to stand up for myself because he gives me nice things. You know, on my birthday and for, you know, holidays, and, you know, because I get given, and I would tell him straight up as a small child, 6, 7, I'd say, I don't care if I'm given anything ever again. I just want to be left alone. Leave me alone, you know. But it worked for people that had never seen that other side of my family. It worked because they thought, oh, well, somebody who seemingly gives the children all these things, there's absolutely no reason why we would think that, you know, and how they act in the community, you know, especially anyone who knows them in the community, when they're not home behind closed doors, you know, when they're out in public, you know, they're calling me devil, child, witch at home, sometimes even monster at home. And they call me by my birth name when they're out in public. You know what I'm saying? It's just, and they pretend to care, and they've got these fake false smiles with eyes of hatred and rage, but they're pretending to care. And people just trust that, you know, because they're, quote, good Christian people. They just trust that with no questions asked. Even if there is a vibe there that these people shouldn't be trusted, that is overridden by, oh, they're a nice, good Christian lad or lass. For whatever reason, any suspicions that anyone has, it's just overridden by that thoughts of, because they're Christian, because they go to church, that you can trust them. You know, when I first moved here, I had, you know, a couple neighbours that were, you know, telling me about another neighbour and how he's, you know, a former pastor and that we can trust him, and it's, you know, whatever, he's a former pastor and he's a former, military, veteran. I can't remember what they said, that what type of military, I can't remember, but it was some kind of veteran military thing. You know, and that, you know, he's got all this reputation of this and that and that and this, and honestly I never met the lad, so I don't know, but I'm telling you, they expected me to believe that he was nice just because of that. I'm like, no, I don't know whether or not he's trustworthy until I actually meet him. You know, they're trying to say all these nice things about everyone who lives here to try and make me feel at ease, that it's a nice neighbourhood and whatever. And I understand why, you know, you want to try and make people feel at home. But it's like the go-to. They're good Christians, you can trust them. That's the go-to, especially in a lot of rural places where there's only one kind of person. You know, I hate to say it, but yeah, you find that in a lot of rural areas because, let's just face it, you know, in the city, even in the suburbs, you got a melting pot of people mixing together. But in a lot of these rural areas, these old-fashioned people run the town, and that's, you know, it's almost like if you don't think like they do, they find it suspicious, you know, and they ask you which church you go to because they want to know whether or not they can trust you based on which fucking church you go to. I mean, it's just, it's religiously intolerant, it's bias, at times, you know, I've seen people use their religious beliefs as racism and other things as well. Not particularly towards me, but to other people within the community. I don't live where this lad lives, but I'm just saying, you know, if I lived there, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't at all be surprised that that's who he really is at home. You know, because it's widespread, it's global, it's everywhere. It's no different, no matter where you go. That's just always seems to be a pattern there of some sort. And like I said, there are some people who are really nice people. I've actually met some of them who are Christian pastors, really nice people, genuinely trying to do the right thing. But then there's a different group of people, like this lad, who uses it for false reputation and who knows what else, you know. So I'm not saying everybody like that is untrustworthy. Don't get, you know, caught up in that. I'm just saying it's a magnet for these kinds of people to have these kinds of professions that people trust, to use it as false reputation, and in some cases to use it as a figure of power, like my family, like to use it as a legit way to get out of things and to not be arrested because you've got police officers that are also part of your fucking bloody cult who will jump through hoops to try and get you out of a charge, you know, or blame it on somebody else or whatever. There's several things that they should be imprisoned for because there's enough evidence, but you know, the police chief would not allow further investigation on it. But there was most definitely not, and I won't get into that, but I'm just saying, You know, these people, a lot of times they work in groups. It goes beyond just one person trying to cover their own personal reputation. No, they choose any kind of occupation that either people trust, or most importantly, has the ability to, in one way or another, sway the outcome of law. Meaning, you know, that you can cover something up. Doctors, autopsists especially, police officers, you know, or not allow it even to be investigated to begin with. Who knows what else this lad has done or not done? I don't know. I do not know whether he's just a simple person trying to set a false reputation for his governmental election, or whether it's much more sinister and he belongs to some kind of cult. I don't know. And I don't think I'll ever find the answer to that. But you should be wary of these people, because, you know, if they've got a look in their eye like you shouldn't trust them, you need to trust that gut, you know, instinct. You need to trust that hunch that you just naturally have about people, regardless of their title. You need to completely throw away what their title is and look at their facial expressions, look at their eyes, see whether or not they're telling the truth. Trust that among everything else, because, you know, the eyes don't lie. They can try to lie, but they really can't. I mean, if you know something's off about someone's demeanour, that should be what you what you take into account way before whatever their occupation is. If someone's demeanour is off, trust it. Trust that that's who they really are, not their title.